Why don't we call the meeting to order at 7:33? Sound good?
Sounds good.
Excellent. Okay, Courtney, roll call, please.
All right, Brant Dunlap,
Here.
Janet Benjamin,
Here.
Larry Childs. Present yet. Bill Cullinane is excused. Sarah Cullinane is excused. Sandy Fielding,
Here.
Steve Fillingham,
Here.
Leland Klaus,
Here.
Bill Glazier,
Here.
Lisa Henderson,
Here.
James Johns,
Here.
Wendy Lee,
Here.
Chris Metcalf is excused. Sharon Mitchell is excused. Joss Rogers,
Here.
John Vandercook excused. Alan Vlasic,
Here.
City Council Member Znaimer,
Present.
and City Liaison Sheila.
It's right above it, password and.
That's me.
Okay, we are good.
That's all I put in.
Janet, do we have our flag, Miss Sergeant of Arms? All right, if you would all look at Janet's flag and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Red hand over your heart. Hats off if you have one. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Janet.
Good job there, Janet.
Yeah, she's gotten it down pretty good.
I had to run and go get it.
I forgot all about that part. Wow.
Well, we didn't have a flag the first two, but we're making grounds on it.
Making progress.
Sheila, do we have any public comment?
I have received no email public comments. I don't know if there's anybody online who is the public that has a comment on a non-agenda item. Nope.
Well, we'll call that a no. Council Liaison and Communications, Councilmember Znaimer. Hi, do we have anything that's exciting for us?
Good evening. Unfortunately, no. Thanks.
God, I was hoping for like a 10-minute speech about anything. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Couple things that is going on for us. We have a self-built picnic. I sent an email to all of you, a few, probably around one or two, and it's in your emails. This is something that in the self-builts, we all take a turn hosting a picnic on site. And then last year we canceled, and it was supposed to be at Burbank. And so this year they're going to put it on as a Zoom. And there's a very nice agenda. It's going to be very similar to what we do when we're in person. And we get to show each other's renderings. So if you are on part of it, you will see all the self-builts. You'll see their float renderings. Some may be in color. Some may only be black and white like ours. They'll talk about any animation. They'll talk about any special electronics going on, any walkers, riders. And looking at the agenda, they're going to put us into some different breakout groups and talk about some challenges that we're facing in the last 14 months and what we think we're going to face going forward. And how can we as a team help each other out if there's a need, whether it's by volunteerism, fundraising, deco, construction. So this will be the first, but I hope anybody, it's open. I know Wendy, you'd sent me an email and I apologize, I didn't read it until about 7:28. It is open to anybody in our committee. They're just asking that there's only a couple of people that speak on behalf of each city, because traditionally, I've only been to one when it was hosted at our site 3 years ago. And Janet or Courtney, there was, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was probably, Lee, when you were there, there's probably close to about 60 people there, give or take.
Yeah.
You have a good group. You have about 10 from each different group. And it's really kind of cool. You get to meet people that you've never met. And lot of brainstorming, and it's just kind of a fun laid back event. So I would encourage all to go. I'll work with like Janet or Joss, James or Lisa as more of the committee heads that would be more involved in representing like what our float is, the dynamics of it, and the effects. So we'll pretty much use them as the point people for us, but I'll send another follow-up email as well on that. That should be fun. On a sad note, for those of you who know Sharon and have known Sharon for years, Sharon has taken great care of her sister for many years, but for the last couple of years, literally has spent like every night by her side. A week ago Sunday, I believe. So prayers for Sharon and her sister. They have some children and family as well. So if you see Sharon, it's a good thing. She's happy and glad, but it's the first time, as she told me when I talked to her last week, she goes, this is the first time in my life I don't have a sister. So if you see her at the site or whatever, just pass a hug to her somehow. She'll appreciate it a lot, very much. On a different note, I need to ask you all for a motion to add an emergency item to the agenda. This is something that came up today, and it will require our committee's approval. So it is a voting matter. And it is about, Sheila, do I need to say what it is now or when I add it later? Yeah.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
it's about adding an approval for a second signer on the Citizens Bank account, which would be myself. So I would like to add that after Sandy's treasury report. So we would just put it as item 6A. And we'll just follow the agenda as it's printed, and we'll just insert this after Sandy's treasurer's report. We approve that. And then we will go into that for motion and discussion if needed.
I move to
Yeah,
add
because
the
Is that okay?
Everybody did it at once and,
I heard some, I don't know who it came from.
James, you and me. I
yeah,
seconded it.
okay, so James, motions to approve and Alan seconds,
Sure.
or Joss, or what?
or Joss, okay.
Excellent. Thank you, gentlemen. That's it for me. Pretty quiet. Nothing going on in the tournament. There's a design variance meeting coming up, but we're not necessarily time. So at this point, I'll just pass it on to Sheila for staff liaison. Any communications Anne should know. I know she's got some sad news about a big event in South Pass. It was
Yes, we, the festival
hopefully
committee
altered.
has decided to cancel the 4th of July fireworks parade. And just because it's so last minute, to cover the cost of the fireworks show, they would have to allow for full capacity at the high school. And right now we can only allow up to 25% in the stadium, which would not cover the $20,000+ of a fireworks show. So, and you know, they don't have the money to cover the whole show. And if they don't get enough ticket sales to cover, then usually when they sell the tickets, they can cover the fireworks show and the parade, but they just don't have the funding and will not be able to raise the funding off of, you know, minimal capacity at this time. So we're going to forego this year. We're going to look to do it bigger and better next year. We're going to start meeting in September. We're going to probably just reach out to this committee as well, just saying, hey, you know, if you want to be a part, what do you want, you know, what are your ideas? What are your thoughts? And it's very last minute. I mean, also it's just been, it was a bit challenging decision for them to make, but that's kind of what some of the things they've come up with. And so we let council know. So it's canceled for this year, but on for next year, as long as this pandemic is far behind us.
Yeah, I'd like to add on that, Sheila, too, that, and I think I think Joss might have gone. A couple people showed up. I think Sharon did too. About this time last year, the Festival of Balloons Committee was reaching out to our community saying that we've got like 10 people. Everybody's either moved or just retired, and they really reached out for help. And if I'm not mistaken, at that, which was pretty much the last council meeting they had, I guess it would have been February.
It was March of last year.
Or March.
It was March of
Yeah,
last.
It was March 12th.
And
I think.
a lot of people from the community, like they had more people show up than like they've ever seen.
Right.
So I think if any of us, and I know we had there was a couple of representatives from SPTOR. I just don't remember who. Because I remember Joe called me and thanked me for sending an email out. Let's go back and let's at least support them.
They were our number one fans.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
So we want to keep that role going. You know, we're gonna need the ball for us, and let's kind of give that ball to them, and you know, in a few or 6 months when it comes back up. So Joe's a big supporter of us and his board and everybody else. So we'll see what we can do to help when it comes up. Sheila, let us know.
Is the parade canceled as well?
a lot of the youth groups that were coming in, they haven't even had in-person meetings yet. So they couldn't even confirm that they would actually, like the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts they only have Zoom meetings. So they're not meeting in person yet. So they were not even sure if they would be able to, because there's still no guidelines for in-person parades. There's only guidelines for vehicle parades. So, and then I would have to put boxes on the sidewalk, and you'd have to have, you know, your members of your family in this box. 6 feet later, you have another family. It's even what I have to do for concerts. I have to have a 10 by 10 or 12 by 12 box, and your family has to sit in that box. You have to pre-register to even come to a concert in the park. So there's so many guidelines. And if you have over 250 people, you have to register it with LA County for a permit for approval. And you have to give them your whole COVID outline of what you'll be doing. So it's very difficult to try and do that parade when it's a volunteer driven event. I mean, and not that I'm saying, but the committee is not young, you know, they are not young people. And for them to do all this in, you know, in a matter of, you know, 2 months on their own, they just.
Huh? I was thinking.
No, I know this is not part of our department or in our league here, but I think I'm disappointed. This is the first time I've heard it. And, you know, I can only think of Ted Shaw, you know, who started the whole Festival of Balloons.
Yeah.
And I wonder, you know.
Well, I will tell you, my mom was one of the ones who, she's not on the committee, but she joined in the meeting, and she was the one who said, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. They would go so far in the hole, even for just the parade and the park. She was telling me that's $10,000 alone with the posters and the porta potties and all of that kind of stuff. And so she was part of that conversation. So,
Well, what I would recommend to Sheila is that knowing that you're a year in advance and that we're going to have a 4th of July in 2022, I would really encourage the local community, and may I say, you know, not as experienced community, to volunteer for this.
Right.
I mean, you have a boatload of people. I know a boatload of people who would go on that right away. And, you know, I'm almost 60, not me, but my 30 and 40-year-old friends. So I think you really need, if your committee is mature, then you should start now in marketing how you're going to get a strong committee where the current committee could help.
Right, and that's what we started last year, and then obviously COVID hit, and right now I have 5 committee commissions, so it's kind of hard to put the effort into doing everything because I really only have 1 full-time staff that I work with right now. We have 3 vacant positions, so once all those positions on, I can start kind of giving other people different committees and commissions to cover, and then we can concentrate on what we want to do. We do have a new city manager coming in possibly after tomorrow. she might have a new direction too as well. Like, hey, we're gonna, I really want to boom up this. And so, it's something that we need to get a new group in to help out, because that same group has like been there, I think, for 30 something years or more.
Since the beginning,
Yes.
most of them.
And
So work with me, because I have a really, really good friend who has children that are 4 and 6 and are very active or want to be very active. And
Okay.
that's who you want to tap into.
okay, thank you, Wendy. I'll reach out to you. Thank you.
No,
Sorry.
I had one comment about the Festival of Balloons. Kiwanis does their annual pancake breakfast, which is their major fundraiser. So this will be the second year that they're not going to do that. And I think we're okay. I mean, we're starting to meet together as a group. Again, at Shakers, we're deciding to get together maybe twice a month rather than weekly. But it's a domino effect where it affects a lot of people. But Kiwanis will always be there to support if you have the parade, that we will cook the pancakes. And so we're gonna be okay. And I think everybody's gonna be okay. And it just, it seems like everything is happening on a daily basis on everything opening up. And so we'll just wait and see.
Guidelines tomorrow.
Yeah.
The new guidelines, so. Okay, well, thank you, and I'm sorry to take up time, but I appreciate Wendy, you and Alan, your comments.
So good. We're all in it together. We're all one city. We all love doing what we all do. So I enjoy going watching fireworks. So I hope they come on.
I love South Pass. I love South Pass.
Well, we live here.
I know.
And Idaho, we had a parade in.
Minutes. Everybody get a chance to read the minutes? I know everybody.
I have
read
a
the minutes.
correction to the minutes.
I think you have two, but go ahead.
Okay, well, I have one at the very bottom, at the bottom of the agenda. It says that the next meeting will be on May 4th, 2022. So the correction for those is it'll be 2021. Because I don't think we could have skipped the meeting for a whole year.
Good catch.
Sorry, I typed them a little fast.
Or we're just a year early for the next one.
Yeah, I'll just,
Yeah, I suggest you find somebody else other than me to proof your minutes next time too. Sorry. I was just guessing that you probably had two screw ups, not one. So
I'll take one correction.
we got one. Yeah, I didn't see anything else. Anybody else have anything on the minutes before we make a motion to approve as submitted with Courtney's correction? No? All right. We have anybody wants to make a motion to approve the minutes with the correction at the very end of the next meeting date from 2022 to be corrected to 2021?
I move that
Wendy makes the motion.
are accepted as approved.
So I had Wendy and Alan.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Beautiful. Thank you. Treasurer's report.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can hear, and can you share
can
your
hear you now.
guests?
Wait,
Can
I
you
want
share
to
your
show
guests?
you. There's Megan.
Hi, Megan.
Hey, Megan.
Okay, we'll get back to me. On April, for April 2021, checking account has 9,132. And the 501c3 has 95,175. And our savings 501c3 is $51,321. Totaling 155,630. And the only major thing I've gotten, I was waiting for the invoice today. I went up to the bank, is the insurance from Janet to cover us, and that's going to be $1,691 for next year. And I'm just waiting for that right now. I think that's it.
Sandy, that's actually for the 501c3, the D&O insurance.
But it didn't come yet. Did it come?
No, not yet.
Okay.
No, your agent
think-
hasn't billed you yet.
Oh, wait, and our CPA, we finished the taxes. They've been signed, they've been mailed. I'm out of the picture.
We'll see you.
I'm out, everything's signed and mailed, and the Attorney General's got our check. So
Nice.
we're good for another year.
We're legit.
We are legit.
Would anybody like to make a motion to approve
I move that we
Treasury
approve the
report for-
minutes.
April,
I mean,
March?
approve the treasurer report.
So we have a
I'm going back.
motion,
We'll try to get in on
motion by
those
Jen.
minutes, aren't you?
Alan second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Beautiful. Real quick.
Okay,
I do
so
have a
now our
quick question.
addendum?
No, not yet. I do have a question that would be about the insurance on the float for Janet. So we shrunk our coverage down all of last year because we were not meeting to a minimum, right? Are we in a position ready to open it up for our volunteers? Assuming, are we, in other words, I guess my question is that we're,
Okay, this is on
Ready
the
to
accident
cover-
policy.
yes.
Okay, the accident policy, we dropped it to minimum, which is still 50 people. So I don't think we're gonna have 50 people on site right now. We can bump it up at any time. It goes from September 29th, 2020 to September 27th of 2021. But we can adjust that once we start to get more than 50 people there.
Cool. Just wanted to make sure that we're ready to make that move if we are allowed to by local guidelines.
Yeah.
Awesome, thanks. Okay, so now to the 6A. 6B? Oh, yeah, because I guess 6 is 6A. 6A or B. Whatever you want. You can have it, Sandy. Okay, Sandy, you want to explain what it is we need and what we need to do?
Okay, so citizens called me last week and said that Ted was still on our accounts, and that is not legit. And we have, because we're a 501, we have to have a second person in case something happens to me or whatever. God forbid that. I'm knocking on wood right now. So we need a second person on both accounts. We need Sam, is going to be on the 501, and I recommended that Brent be on the checking account, the non-501, to co-sign or sign if I'm not here. And because Ted is not answering my Ouija board. So we do need a second signature.
So what we have on the table is first of all, does anybody have any discussion or comments or questions about that?
So I have one question. Sorry, I'm in the dark because I'm in my truck in a parking lot on my way somewhere. Is it still going to be just one signature per check, or is it going to be, if a check goes over a certain amount, it requires two signatures?
No,
Good
Citizen
question.
is not giving us charging us for a two signature anymore. But they have to have two signatures on the card.
Okay, so if
for
you're
legal.
out of town,
Right,
Brian can write a check.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, they only need one signature on the check, but they want two signatures on file in the bank is what they want.
Gotcha. Okay. I was just wondering because, like, on our school checks, ours are always two signatures unless it's under a certain amount. So then that way, if it goes over $1,000, two people have to approve it. But
Good question.
we've never had an issue before, so I think this is fine.
All right, good question.
Where's the light
Anybody
here?
else?
No, that doesn't work.
All right, so we need a motion to approve the removal of Ted Shaw's signature or name on the citizens account. That is the non-501c3 account. And to add Brent Dunlap as a signer to the non-501c3 account. And I think Alan's got his hand up.
I have a motion
question.
to approve that Ted's name be removed, Brent's be added to the bank account. Chicken.
A
Second.
motion by Alan, second by
second.
Janet. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Excellent. Thank you, everybody, for the last minute add-on. Event and site. James just went dark again on us, but I believe you can hear us.
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry, I keep muting the phone. I'm on my way home, but I stopped to take this meeting. So far, nothing too crazy at the site. I haven't been by in a week, but they should have dropped off a new garbage can with a new lock on it. That hopefully, the only issue we have is when they empty it, 90% of the time they do not relock it. It's up to somebody.
We noticed it's already full.
Does it have a new lock on it though?
Yes.
It
Yeah.
does.
There we go.
So do we know what day it gets picked up? Because I can always stop by there on my way home from work and lock it.
It's Tuesday.
I don't actually know. Is it Tuesday? Because I know on my block, which is only one block over, it's Mondays and Fridays. So if it's Tuesday, I can probably hit it up. When I'm on my way home, I'll swing by tonight and lock it if it's empty.
I'm pretty sure it's Tuesdays.
Yeah, it was completely full this weekend. We could not add anything to it, which kind of stunk. So I left a bunch of trash cans just next to the dumpster.
Why can't you just ask them to please lock it and send a notice to all the residents and say, from now until January, can you please not use this dumpster?
It's not residents that do it.
It's
Norm is
the local
constantly
gardeners.
sending me text messages of people dumping stuff out of pickups.
So can we just have Athens start locking it?
Yeah,
they're supposed to, but it's, those guys are in a hurry and they just do it and then they just take off. So, and we've asked them, I said, can you please ask you guys to please lock it? And they go, and it happens like we have locks at a theater up in Pasadena. When they empty it, you know what? 90% of the time they don't lock it. So, like I said, I'm hopefully be after this meeting over, be about home in about 20 minutes, and I'll swing through. And if I can, I'll lock it. Other than that, I mean, there's not a whole lot of crazy. I got to find a new, what do you call it? A new porta potty person, because our person has been absorbed or by a company that when we get quotes from them, they're like 3 times as much as the one we had been using. So I've been researching that. Haven't had a whole lot of luck, but I'm probably going to call Tournament and see who they use and see maybe I can hop on a deal with them and see if they won't. Hey, we're Termarosa stuff too. Can you give us a good deal? But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Other than that, nothing too crazy going on. So.
Excellent. Cool. All right. Thanks for getting us the new trash can.
If it gets vandalized again, we got to do a police report, and then they'll do it for free. This time they did it for free, but if it gets vandalized again, we have to do a police report.
We can do that.
Yeah, then they'll replace it for free again.
Oh, construction, Josh, Steve.
Actually, I'll go first. Basically, since last meeting, we've been up there twice, 2 weekends. First weekend we went up and just kind of started the forklift, and surprisingly enough, it started and runs. We still have a hose to replace, and also the float. We got that started up. However, in starting it up, we found out we have a leak in the propane lines, so we're going to need to replace propane lines on the float. And then last weekend we just kind of went up and cleaned up the float, cut off all the stuff, and worked Saturday. A few of us were up there Saturday, and then Sunday Josh was up there working, just kind of doing some more stuff at the float area. So just moving along with what we can.
Sandy, what at some point pretty soon we're going to have to submit our budgets, right?
Yes, that'd be nice.
Okay.
I need to know the big expense stuff mostly.
that propane thing that Steve just mentioned is going to be an unexpected expense that we're going to sort of, I'm
That's
getting
not,
by.
that's not part of the actual float. That'll go as a different expense.
Yeah, like capital expenditure, but I'm trying to get my arms around what the cost of that it's going to be right now. So I still have maybe a couple of weeks of sketching out all of the needs before I sit down with the host man and actually get a proposal together. Another thing that we need to think about, it's not a huge expense, but I'm sure you guys recall in 2019, there were a handful of things related to the breakdown of the float in front of us that all of the self-builts were required to incorporate. As we got closer to the 2020 parade, they decided to pull the plug on those requirements because of the level of complication it was introducing for inspections and whatever. So my understanding, and this is still out for confirmation, my understanding from Jody and Greg is that those requirements that got yanked at the last minute in 2019 are now back on the table. So that would include more robust towing on the front and the back of the float, as well as improved firewalls and flagging of fire extinguishers and things like that. I've got them on a list. It's not a big deal. When we have our self-built meeting at tournament, these are going to come up and we're going to flesh them out as a team. But that will also be added to the budget. I don't expect it to go over a couple $1,000. The cancellation of the 4th of July parade, we kind of had a hint that was coming. Wendy, I can appreciate just having my own kids, having been in the parade most of their childhoods, how important it is to the community. But at the same time, it was a bit of a relief for us because it's one less thing that we have to kind of build and then tear down again. So it allows us to kind of really hunker down and focus on what's important and develop those priorities. I talked to Metcalf on Sunday, and it sounds like Janet and Metcalf are in pretty good pace as far as what they need to do. And Steve and I decided that we're going to start really building out individual team members to focus on different parts of the float based on what Janet and Chris have come up with. So Lisa, to you, we're eagerly awaiting the final dimensions, but we're starting to build out these individual binders by character and by feature of the float. We'll have those fleshed out hopefully by the end of the month. The only other thing I wanted to say is, I've been talking to a lot of people. It seems like even if we're down at the float site for an hour, people come by and they're like, wait, you're building a float again? Is it really happening? Word hasn't really gotten out to the community yet that we are having a parade, and maybe this is something for Glacier to consider, is that there's a lot of interest in what it is that we're doing, and there's a lot of enthusiasm and excitement for the fact that we might be able to rally the community back together. And I, for one, having been involved in AYSO and the Arts Council and all these different things around the city, I'm encountering people on a regular basis at the grocery store and all throughout the community, I'm sure you all are, that are so excited that we're getting this float back together for the 2022 January. So I thought that Janet, Steve, and maybe James and I should get together and think through some sort of an open house around the July timeframe where we could invite the community, non-committal, but invite the community in the way that we used to recruit coaches and refs and team managers with AYSO. It was non-committal, but we would invite parents to come down and meet us and see what it is that we do without the sort of the perception that there's a commitment. When we did our welding classes, there was a perception that if they took the welding class, then they must sign up to start coming the following week to start welding. And I saw a huge drop off, and it kind of felt like a failed attempt at trying to recruit enthusiasm. Maybe if we did it more as an open house, and Brant, this is something you can think about, and maybe Glacier can help us promote in the summer, is to have families come and have Janet give an orientation of what we do with deco, and have construction give an orientation of what we do with construction, and really in the same way that we do like that self-built open house where everybody gets a tour of everything, invite the community down and have some sign-up sheets there. And really just kind of open it up to the community, maybe a couple of hours in an afternoon to have them come down. We can have some, you know, snacks and things, and just make it kind of a fun thing. Like, hey, we're back. We're ready to kick some butt, and we want you a part of it.
Joss, I don't know when it was. Somebody help me. Probably 5-6 years ago, we tried doing a kickoff in the summer. Invited the whole community down, put it in the paper, sent out flyers everywhere. We had 7 people show up. And in talking to people, it was like, oh, they don't start thinking about float until September, October. So
yeah, I'm just saying the past 3 weeks that we've been at the float site, I've got at least 10 people on my new contact list.
yeah.
So
But
and
none
they-
of them,
they
none of
wanted
them
to
showed up to
come-
come to work.
Well, no, they wanted to come to the board meeting. And I told them that it was a Zoom meeting, and I wasn't sure how to get them the information, but no, people, I think they're jonesing right now. People with small children and people with teenage children are jonesing to take part in something in the community. And
Invite them on the deco and the construction list and get them in. That's the best way to do it.
yeah, again, no, when I was talking to Juan and his family this past weekend, you know, I got a pretty clear sense that they felt intimidated by this idea of joining construction. And then I brought up deco, and they're like, well, what is that exactly? And I was kind of like, okay, how many times do I have to go through this? That's why I thought just having like almost like an open house, or like a float fair, you know, we could open up the souvenir booth and make it kind of a thing for people, or maybe it's as simple as we did this for SPEF. When I was on the SPEF board, we set up a little tent during the farmers market, and I can't tell you how many people bought t-shirts and bought stickers and bought random shit at the farmers market, but it was a huge awareness development tool. So maybe that's something we should think about. To Janet's point, you set up an
I
open
would
house,
table
and
that for a
very few
different
people
side
show up.
and go on with that with another group instead of
Mhm.
continue here. I would get a group, an email, get some ideas bounced and see if it'll work. Because
So
we
is
could
it-
talk all night on it, but
Yeah.
we need to move.
Is it Wendy?
I have to interrupt you 1 second, because this is all part of membership and getting people involved. And so if it didn't work X amount of years ago, but if we did get 7 people, wouldn't it be nice if those 7 people were with our committee right now? So I think that there's
agree.
decoration and there's the construction, but also some of these people could say, oh, wow, I would really like to be a part of the crunch time party. Or, oh, I'd like to help with the golf tournament. Or I'd like to be the secretary of the organization. These are the types of things that we keep on having to try to get new members to join our group. Josh, I think that's a fabulous idea.
All right.
And I think we can get them on a Zoom, and in about a month or two, we can probably have them show up at a meeting.
Yep.
And they can ask questions afterwards and we can meet them. But until then, I would say, let's get them on our list and get them on the communication boards quickly. So we don't lose them.
Maybe
Just to be
it's-
clear,
the
so is
Bill-
when,
I just thought maybe a thought for Bill is, you know, if people don't know the individual area, like maybe if he does an article on what deco is, and works with Janet and kind of get that out. So it's kind of a series, you know, leading up, and then maybe by September, you know, then you do this, and maybe you do get more people on board at that time, you know, because
I'm also thinking of something really simple, Wendy, maybe as a project, is like a trifold. You know, some sort of trifold that we could have at the farmer's market. And I'd be willing to sign up to join that Thursday evening, afternoon, evening, to just chat with the community. There's a lot of people in the community that really just don't totally know. You know, they might want to volunteer 1 or 2 weekends, but we really need to get them on that radar. And I feel like, you know, right now, just given how many people are just completely suffering from cabin fever, they're itching, and especially now with the 4th of July parade, you know, falling apart. Like, I think that people are really itching to get involved, and I want to try to do something with that energy sooner than later. To Janet's point and to Brant's point is like, let's not wait until the end of the year. Let's get them on the list now.
I completely agree. And I think what we need to put in front of our faces is that we've been here for too long. We need those ones, the ones who have been here for 3 years and want to give into the community. You know, I'm already texting everyone to say there's no 4th of July, and everyone's like, well, is there a balloon committee? It's like, so I just think, yeah, let's keep an open mind. And Joss, I'm right there. I want to do it.
All right.
You know, you get the Girl Scouts, you get the Boy Scouts, you get, you know, there's just so many, and that AY, all of that. There's so many things that we can do to get people. And right now we're all energized. Everybody wants to help. You know, we're just sitting around, and some people, that will be my next, but people want to write checks. People want to, you know, dig in. I mean, right now it's like, what committee can I sign up? What committee can I sign up for?
Well, I just know I know the publisher at the South Pasadena would be more than willing to back this effort and put some, maybe put some ads together and really get the word out through that effort. And certainly I can write some stories and some news releases and touch bases with not only the South Pasadena, but the South Pasadena Review and the Pasadena Star News and whatnot. So I think it's a great idea. It reminds me a lot of our just attracting so many people to the. I also serve on the 4th of July committee, and so and I did write a story in the last couple of days that Sheila is aware of about the cancellation of the 4th of July. So if you're interested to know a little bit about that, it's on the South Pasadena website. Thank you. And so I'm all for it. I think that these are all great ideas. I like the idea of having kind of an open house, and even if you have 7 people, but I think because of, you know, everybody's just, you know, just looking forward to getting out and doing something. And if they're given the opportunity to really be a part of this committee or a branch of this committee and come to an organizational meeting, maybe outside the float site, I just think it's fabulous. And maybe do it on a Saturday afternoon, a Sunday afternoon, and invite the community and write the stories, but, you know, get the message out through the, you know, the local media and social media, which we may have not had 3 or 4 years ago, as strong as it is today. So I'd be willing to work with Joss and Brant. And Brant knows that we've been writing stories in the last year during COVID. He and I have written stories, a lot of stories, just to keep the float in the news. Unfortunately, fortunately for me, I was on vacation a month ago and went off to the Grand Canyon for the first time in my life. So I missed writing something in the last month, but I'm certainly on board to help make that happen. And I'll maybe get in contact with Joss and anybody else.
Brant, to your point, I'm sorry I didn't mean to derail the conversation, but I'll spin off a separate conversation. I'll invite you, Janet, Wendy, and Bill, and we'll get some balls rolling.
Sure. Sounds great, though. It really does.
That's
We're
it.
done on construction.
That's it.
Yep.
I inadvertently skipped design. James, and apologize. I see James went dark again. But so for design, James, Lisa, who wants to lead it? Who's been the most active this month?
Actually, I think Lisa's been the most active this month.
Where is he?
Yeah, hey
Yeah,
guys.
I had to shift.
You want me to talk, James?
Go for it.
Okay.
So we have been taking the rendering. I worked a little bit with James, and then Janet gave me another drawing that I didn't know existed, where there were some different views of the rendering that was done. So we've actually been taking that, and we have been working in 3D modeling to get all of the massing done and try and figure out the scale of things and work with the height limitations to make sure that we don't have to do any kind of variances for that mountain, and then put the characters in. So we've been just layering different information on there to see the scale and size. It's all very grayscale and massing in terms of there's not detail on it. It's really all the animals are there just to see what the sizes are so that we can then take that and then collapse it and put it into two-dimensional drawings to get heights, and then to even just get multiple floor plans at different heights. So you've got your 0 grade of your asphalt, and then you've got 1 foot up, and what is that plate? What's the 2 feet or 1.6, 2, 2.6, etc. So that with the mountain and where it goes, we can understand where that shape is shifting, if it's shifting back or if it's shifting in or shifting over, and then how that the tunnel through it works, and then be able to build it that way and understand that scale, and then have all of the characters have their own sheet. Like last year we had there were kind of 2 sets of drawings. There were the architectural drawings that I did, and then there are the ones that most people saw in the booklet, which is what Paul had done. I say last year, I just mean last time.
Yeah.
And it was where did I put it? It's somewhere around here. Oh, it was the grid overlay.
Yeah.
That we had in addition to that, which I worked on with Joss, which was all of the detailed drawings that had the fine-tuned dimensions to it. So we'll do a book like this, but it'll actually have scalable stuff to it, because we can take that model and collapse it down into a 2-dimensional floor plan or elevation or whatever.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, Lisa, but I just wanted to mention something. Steve and I were talking about the drawings, and one of the things that I think might be helpful, and hopefully this streamlines things a little bit for you, is that I think it's more important for us to have rough dimensions and allow the sculptor to actually fill in some of the gaps as a part of their creative process.
Right, that's
okay.
That's why I said earlier, it doesn't have a lot of finished detail to it. It's
that's fine. That's
great scale. So the animals are not, we're not spending all this time doing like detailed 3D of feathers and wings and things like that. We're looking at what the overall size of that body is, and the head, and then the ostrich that's taking off, and those elements that the kind of the flame things that are really pinning to both sides of the mountain that would rotate up and create that animated feature. And that animal is a lot bigger than some of the other ones, just to have it be forced perspective. So we want to make sure that those are the right sizes so that we can create the little pages or whatever that gives you an idea of the base body of that creature, so that whoever's doing the sculpting on with the pencil steel on those, the ostrich, the bunnies, the whatevers, the raccoon that's holding the sign or whatever, so that they can start working on those things that are independent of the actual, the mountain and everything that's connected to the float. So anyway, so we have that fairly far along. I've been going back and forth with Brant and James to get their feedback and their approval or whatever. So we're just layering a little bit more information, and then we should have something to show everybody, and then be able to move forward with that. So I'm going based on Brant's original request of me to have this. I think that my original deadline was June. So if there was other expectations, that was a little bit unknown to me. So I'm trying to speed things up as much as I can and get you guys the information so that we can start, fine tuning those elements as soon as possible in terms of, like, for instance, where the drivers are going to be and what the right heights are and adjusting that if need be, or adjusting the roadway and things like that. So that's what I'm working on.
All right. And then I'm going to apologize right now to Alan, because I have been kind of, unfortunately, been kind of putting it off, but kind of doing my research. Alan, you're going to have to remind me of the gentleman's name, because again, I'm in my truck and I don't have it in front of me.
His name is Doug Ewing, and he turned in the original concept like 10 years ago.
Yeah. And so Doug Ewing was.
I thought it was Brian.
Excuse me, Brian Ewing. Doug Ewing is his father. Brian Ewing is the son.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I got kicked out of the parking lot where I was, so I'm trying to get home. Anyway, so look at me drive. All right. So I've been like and talking with a few friends of mine. One of them is won an Emmy for design. A couple of them have won what's called an Ovation Award for design, which is basically the LA version of the Tonys, and basically working on how to make sure the right people get the right credit for what they did. And with that, basically, Brian Ewing needs to get the credit for the original concept design of our float, and then we need Paul and oh God, who's
Scott Fielding?
Not Scott Felding.
Richard Carlo?
Richard Carlo. Yeah, sorry. My brain is trying to concentrate on driving right now. What Paul and Richard should get the credit for the revised design of the float for this year's parade. So Brian should get the original concept design, and then Paul and Richard should get the credit for the updated design of our float. And that's kind of what I've been talking with my friends about, on how would you kind of word this, because a lot of times, like, shows will get designed and go into one theater, and then the original designer won't be able to go and take the show on the road or take the show to the next theater, and so the show will have to be modified, and so you'll have a revised designer is basically what it becomes to. So that's kind of how it kind of needs to be worded, and how we kind of need to update some of our information about this float. Does anybody
if I might just throw in something, James, it seems like with Brian Ewing being the original concept, it could be Paul, the original design, and Richard, the rendering. But the point being that Brian Ewing is a guy that you would probably want to saddle up next to. Very talented. He could have, done like 3 or 4 of these every year. I mean, you look at that design and it's incredible. He works for Disney.
Right.
And it seems like from December, when he first said, "Hey, wow, that's my design," and he hasn't heard anything back other than for me to say, yes, thank you for your original concept. So I hope that you're going to get him out a letter real soon on our logo.
Right. Yes. And again, it's been one of those kind of like, again, when we got when you pointed out to me, that was the first time I'd ever heard of it, because again, we pulled it out of the box. We didn't even have any original paperwork on it, which is a good note for when we do this next year, is always make sure you have the original paperwork. But yes, it needs to happen. And I apologize again. I'm sure everybody, with what's been going on this last year, it's been a little bit of a challenge. We're building a plane in flight, and then they told us to redesign the plane about a month ago at the school, and so everything's been a little bit crazy. And I apologize. And hopefully now that we finally have figured out what that plane design is going to be, and we're going to land that damn thing on June 2nd and not have to think about it until August, we can get some of this other stuff out of the way. So we'll have to get some. Courtney, do we have any letterhead still, or do we still print that?
I do. I have
Yeah.
the whole box.
Sandy
But
has
is
it with my dad's name as the last president and then as Ted as the committee president, but I don't know if it's been updated.
I have an electronic version.
Wendy
that
just
you
gave
I
me
can
a whole
send you.
box.
Okay, great. So we'll, if I can, at some point we'll get some of that and we'll get that sent off. And then I can write it if somebody wants the PDF it and print it and send it to them. I'm hoping that, Alan, if the information on that sheet that you sent me is still correct.
As far as I know, what email and stuff like that?
Is it like his address?
You know, I'll be glad to send it to you again, James.
No, I mean, I have it. I just wonder if it's still correct. Does he still live there?
Yeah, he hasn't moved.
Okay, perfect.
May I interject on this only because I don't know anything about this? Brant, perhaps
Yes.
making a phone call or, asking to have coffee with him or something to thank him for what he did and to explain, we didn't have all the paperwork together and we're still, we're a self-built float and all that, because I feel like I hear Alan saying this guy's a really good person to have in your hip pocket. So I don't know if just a regular letter coming out from, from us.
I think if we do both, I mean, James is the design chair. I mean, I think that's a great move. From a committee's point of hierarchy, that James is the one that releases it to the public, so to speak, releases it at a council meeting, so to speak. So I think as a joint, it's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the first step is to
James and I
to
go
write the-
together on
write-
it. Sure, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think the first step is to write the letter. I don't know how comfortable he would be about meeting right now. I know a few of my friends that work for Disney in their admin department are basically have been told by the company, it says, look, don't do anything stupid, don't do anything crazy, stay home, be here, but you better be ready to go when we need you. So
So you don't think he'll meet me? You don't think he'll meet me at Griffin's for a beer?
No. Send him a Harry and David gift basket. Be done.
There you go.
Griffins would be better. Griffins would be much better.
Yeah, but you get the idea.
It's all indoors. It should be outdoors.
But you get the idea, right?
Yep.
Where I'm saying, a letter is great, but we need to go one.
Well, we can do the letter as a, here's what we want to do. Would you be willing to meet? We can, and then just see what his comfort level is as far as as meeting, because I know different people have different levels of comfort at this point. So, but yeah, we can totally get that done. Like I said, things have been a little nuts, so we're gonna. If I can get.
Oh, sorry, James.
I'll get that letterhead. I'll get a letter written, and we'll see, and we'll go from there.
Hey, Brant, I'm curious about something. I know that Mike Mara joined us for the team photo at the tournament house. I mean, maybe that's another thing that we can offer Brian, is to join us up there with the guy that also did the altered illustrations for the team photo. I'll just kind of.
Yeah, I think that's pretty typical. Whoever is credited with it is invited.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. Cool. Lisa, I got a quick question. We don't need a discussion because I know we all want to get going. But just really quick, double check the height. I think on one of your emails and a note on the mock-up I was looking at was 16'6", which is totally fine. But what we turned into the tournament on 14 months ago, we actually have a list. as 16. So if we go 16.6, whatever, we just got to make a note. We got a variance. That's all.
Right. Well,
Just so you know that.
I was asking Brant, sorry. I was asking James, how high can we go? And he and I were emailing back and forth and he said
Cool.
16.6. So I thought it was 16.6 before a variance. So,
I don't know the details. We could probably call it in real quick and not have to actually show up, but just so you know, we actually, the only what they have on record for us right now is at 16. So we just have to notify them somehow and we're fine, but
well,
just so you
can I ask a question since everyone's here?
know. No, it's not on the agenda.
How high can it actually go, regardless of variance or not? How high can it actually go without having to be like a toothpaste top that flips open?
Like 16.6.
It's 16.6.
It's in the manual that I sent you, the 16
I
foot.
didn't read it yet. Okay.
Oh, come on.
And Lisa, remember you have flowers on top of that. So it's got to be, 3 inches shorter.
Right. And what Janet and I were talking about the other day, and we were revising it on the design today, Janet, was that because of the different plinths that this thing is sitting on, the mountain is starting to look very squatty with like the flames on the side and like all of the different elements. So it's starting to feel and look like this very small mountain instead of this bigger thing. So we're trying to do some stuff to play with the eye and mess with the perception a little bit, where we don't have the plinth at certain points, but the mountain comes down further. And then there's little outcroppings or little kind of ridges in it that have the trees on it. So that might help a little bit. But I was trying to get the most, we can bring it down the 6 inches and then get the 6 inches of the flowers up there. I just did the 16.6 to try and get any inch I could to make it look taller is all.
Yeah, I would say we won't need any more than about 3 inches. So if,
So then I'll just pull it back down to 16 feet and we won't have to do any kind of variance for that, knowing that you have flowers. I don't want to be scraping the underside of a bridge or having anyone sweat. I just didn't know what that height was.
Yeah, we'd probably get canceled on insurance if we scraped the 210.
I
It wouldn't go good for
I don't
us.
think they'd care. Hey, can you guys hear me? I stepped out of my truck.
Yes.
Where's the key to the dumpster? Joss or Steve?
I don't have it. I didn't know that they were changing the lock on the dumpster, honestly.
No,
It's the same key.
It's the same key. It's just
it
where
should be on the it should be to the left of the shop backs on the inside of the right door.
I know, that's where I'm looking.
Oh,
should
sorry.
be hanging on we had it on a little like a little piece of
It
metal.
was on a little ring.
James,
Had a ring, little piece of metal.
Just take all the keys over there, one of them fits.
Yeah, I that's kind of what I was just gonna recommend.
You guys are a load of help. All right.
I'll
Hey,
run
James.
over there. I'll run over there
James.
after this meeting, and one
James,
of
just
the
take-
keys on my key ring works.
James, just take one of the blue American locks, the extra
Bless you.
spares, and lock it with our float lock, because we all have a key to that. So I
I'll
would just lock
zip
it with
tie
one of
it
our.
shut.
Take an
I
American
just
lock.
gotta make
and
sure
lock it.
Athens can open it. All right, well, whatever, moving on. What's next on the agenda, Brant?
Next on the agenda is decoration. Janet's just like chomping, saying, "Would you all just let me have a moment?"
No. Well, I have to thank the whole team because we set up a date a couple weeks ago to be there. I had my COVID shot and got sick, so I wasn't able to be there. I hear it went well. The container got cleaned out, inventory was started, and pretty much most of it done. So we'll be starting to show up. We'll set up some dates and continue to work and keep things going. So, and I am working on, thank you, Josh, for sending me the list. I've compiled most of it. I'm adding a few more names to it, but we're doing a float crew contact list. So it'll have everybody's emails and phone numbers so that when we send out an email, it won't be just to construction, just to deco. It will be to the entire crew, so that those who want to come help with something on construction and the chassis can come and vice versa. If someone wants to work with flowers down the road, they can come and do that. So it kind of just keeps everybody in the loop. And hopefully we'll get more volunteers and everybody will know what's going on. So.
Janet, I have an offer from our South Pasadena Kiwanis Club that if you ever get a group down there together that's somewhat sizable, we would love to barbecue hamburgers for the group.
Fabulous. Thank you very much. We'll keep that in mind, Joss.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, Nancy came by on Sunday to say hello and check in with us, and just wanted to make sure that we didn't need her before September to start making lunches. So I think maybe Kiwanis might be a good shoe-in for one of these weekend barbecues this summer.
That would be fun. And that's
it. I will say they do an amazing job cooking a hamburger.
Yeah.
And it's only amazing if Lynn is there to make sure they're doing it right. Because that one 2 years ago was amazing. That's a great offer. Thank you for that. Hey, you know, on the volunteering,
I'm excited to see us put those damn barbecues to use that I keep stumbling over in the middle container. I've heard that they were for like our team lunches, but we've
no, they were for
not
car
decided.
show.
Oh, okay. They've never
for
used
car
equipment
show.
involved. Got it.
speaking of which, if we have a regular construction deco working calendars, remember Sheila offered, I don't know if we should do it all the time, regular time, but you know, through the city Facebook page, she's offered if we communicate with her, well, we're going to be meeting up there, that's another avenue where it's going to reach out to the community. And then you have somebody like Ed Donnelly that I absolutely can guarantee without even asking him, would occasionally have no problem sharing workdays on the 91030. So we have a lot of community outreach to social media. And I think with Sheila's offer on the city site, 91030, whatever else, we can reach some people, let them know what we're doing. Again, that to what you're starting with, Josh, was the excitement about people just want to know what they can do. So
when's
a
our
couple
next
avenues for you
work
guys
day?
as you get to your group.
When's the next work day?
This coming Saturday.
Oh.
Saturday from 9 to 2 p.m. 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Good.
And then after Mother's Day, Janet, Steve, and I will kind of align our planets and get a longer term schedule out there.
Good.
Good.
Janet, fundraisers?
I don't think there's really anything going on miscellaneous fundraisers. I am still contemplating what to do about the car show. Can you grab my phone? Not getting a lot of positive response for sponsorships. And that's what scares me. I need $15,000 to put the show on. To come up with $15,000 in the next month or so, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do it. My other fear is listening to Sheila talk about everything she has to do with concerts in the park and stuff. We definitely have more than 250 people at the car show. And hopefully everything will be back to normal then, but what will normal be? And if we have to start, you know, marking the street and, you know, so where people can stand and sit and all of that, that would be, well, it'd be very overwhelming and very limiting. So I will let everybody know what I have to decide in the next week or so, whether we're going to do this or not. I've talked to several of you about it. So we'll see. Any
Well,
suggestions?
just know that we can get Athens with a lot of boxes to put people in their boxes. I'm sure we can get those donated by Athens for us.
Put
Shouldn't be
little
a
feed
problem.
holes in the bottom.
We can do that. Yeah, I know it's tough.
I'll show you, I'll send over the guidelines too, when the new ones come out. Supposed to come out tomorrow, but sometimes you're a day or two delayed, but I'll get any kind of information on, whatever they'll give us for outdoor events and things like that.
I think the biggest problem is so many of our sponsors, they're just getting back to work. They're trying to make ends meet. And so I think that's our biggest problem, is raising that kind of money up front to put the show on. Because then after that, all your cars, all your vendors, all that kind of stuff is all, what is the donation to the tournament? And I just don't know if we can do it. So.
Give it your best. That's all we can do.
Yeah.
All right. Wendy? What do we got going on direct mail? Got millions coming in? Thousands?
Yeah, exactly. Kind of getting the momentum of this meeting. I think Sandy and I, and Janet as well, need to kind of, there's more of a raising money here than just the miscellaneous fundraisers. And Joss had a great idea about going to the farmers market and setting up a booth like now, and getting donations and getting signups and getting the younger crowd basically excited about our float, and getting so different organizations I've been involved with. One of them being, as I mentioned to some of you, Pasadena Guild, where we had a home tour and we raised $100,000. And from that $100,000, we were able to give $60,000 away, or give $60,000 to Huntington Hospital and Henry. This year we raised $60,000 doing nothing. We just sent out a letter and we got money. That's all we did. And I really think, and again, I want to huddle up with Sandy because I want to know how much money we need in order to make this work without any of you guys fretting about making this float go. So, yeah.
We're good making a float this year. We don't know about next year though.
Well, that's a discussion to have, right? Exactly. So I'm all about collecting money and fun ways of collecting money. I think Joss had a great idea with the, and I don't know if we have to vote on that or how that goes, but I would say we
don't need to vote. We'll just get a group together, talk to the chamber, talk to Lori, go to the director of the, so she'll notch us over to the farmer's market director and go from there what the guidelines are to do something like that. We just go right through that. We don't need to vote or discuss. We can just make it happen.
So I think that it would be super cool, not just to have a cardboard or a card table out there with brochures, but how cool would it be to have a little snippet of the float, to where and then of course we can decorate whatever, maybe have the kids put flowers on it, maybe let them learn how to do decoupage, or let them learn how to whatever, to get more of the community involved in the float. There's just so many things that have an opportunity here. And, I'm sure we already have the vials of flowers that people can buy for $20 in somebody's memory and that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of opportunity here. There's a lot of low hanging fruit in this time during COVID. People they want to give you money.
Yeah, I put a placeholder for tomorrow evening to kind of round up the cast of characters as a follow-up discussion, and we can kind of brainstorm to our heart's content on all those different things. But yeah, I just when I was listening to you talk, this past weekend I cleaned out the construction container, and when I was moving toolboxes, I found all kinds of foam core posters of old floats, just like they had fallen back behind a bunch of stuff, and we've already got a bunch of them in the middle container. So I just got to thinking, like, you know, that we could really deck out that little pop-up with all of the past floats that we've done. And I can think of little things that my daughter and I used to do, these little coloring, connect the dots, like activity pages for young kids. We can do something with the current design. There's all kinds of cool stuff, but we could go on for a ton of time on that. But yeah, I think to Brett's point, we should probably take that offline for a little creative brainstorm.
Okay. So I have nothing to report. I'm not mailing anything.
Okay. Not yet.
Interesting.
Bill, welcome
You know,
back to California.
You know,
publicity report.
You know, thank you. Back in town. No, to Joss's point, you know, we used to have all the pictures of the floats, the past floats at City Hall, if you recall, on the second floor. And for some odd reason, they were taken down when the former city manager came into town. And it would be so great if we could maybe have a discussion with the new city manager to resurrect those old photos and get them back into City Hall, so that it's a reminder of what this committee and what the impact of the float means to South Pasadena. So maybe Sheila can help us with that, or Evelyn.
Do you remember 2 years ago?
I think that would be very important.
Yeah, Bill, do you remember 2 years ago, Lisa Reynolds came and wanted to propose to do the entry hall to the chambers and do a thing about the history of the tournament. The problem that we crossed at that was, this is when Dr. Moreno was our liaison. And the problem is that the previous city manager awarded a contract to redo the council chambers and City Hall that went away from Spark to an outside company, and they took everything down and we're rotating it. So Lisa wanted to do a permanent area off the one bathroom wall about the history of the tournament with a plaque about all of that. So to what you're saying, we were close and then it just disappeared. So maybe as things settle with our new city manager, I know Evelyn's got a thought on this because
you want me to bring that as my comment? I could ask a city council member to second it, so then the process can start. I mean, that could be done.
Sure, because you have
that would be
council meeting tomorrow night.
I know Lisa
do that
would
tomorrow.
like to bring it back.
Right.
Okay, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
And then you and I can follow up on that too as needed, and if we want to get Lisa back involved in it, because it was her concept to begin with. So yeah, if you and I want to partner on that, that'd be wonderful. And Bill, since he obviously wants to see it.
Absolutely.
I mean, interrupted.
No,
that Lisa was 2 years ago.
Probably Bill can also
No, but,
do a
and
little
I
bit
also-
of blurb in the paper.
Absolutely. No, I would love to. And, you know, to Joss's point again, thanks for showing up tonight, Joss. I'd like to do a kind of a major story just about the float and get the community involved, and maybe even mention that, you know, when the farmers market event might happen. And so certainly I'll follow up with that with Joss, and I'll work with Brant and Joss and anybody else that wants to be a part of it. Maybe I'll send out an email to everybody if they want to make a comment. Wendy, of course. And so more than happy to do that. And then also when we're releasing the color rendering, I know that's came up tonight a little bit. I would like to do that story as and then start promoting, you know, when the golf tournament that Alan's going to talk about in just a second. So I'm here to, you know, I love this float. You know, I've been around it for more than 20 years now. So looking forward to And like I said, you talk to Brent and he'll say, we've been making up stories for the last year, and it's, we've had something
good ones
every other month, and and we'll keep the ball rolling. But certainly, to Joss's point, let's get as many people involved, and maybe hold that event during the summer. Get the folks down to the float site and show them what we have a lot of young families in town, and they're eager, like people have said all night. They're just eager to get involved in something, and what better than South Pasadena's float? So anxious to help out in any way I can. That's it for me.
You've been wonderful during the worst times and wonderful during the best times.
Thank you so much.
I know we have no report from Webb or from Bill or Sarah. I did ask Bill if we have anything to talk about the website, and he said just get people to go visit it. Metcalf, Chris is knee deep in planning for the Mother's Day sales Friday and Saturday at the shop he works at, so that's why he couldn't join us. But he did ask. So as Bill was just saying, for the last year, we've almost done an article every month for going on like 13 months. And you start running out of ideas. Chris Metcalf is out of ideas. He's out of all the stuff he's had on file to do flashbacks and stories. And he's done an amazing job on the website. He's asking us or any neighbors that have any type of pics from over the years, old pics, any family pictures, people decorating on the float, past parades, last year, car show, spring fling, golf tournament, anything with maybe a little short sentence of, doesn't have to be their names, but if it was a specific year or anything, just email it to him. He needs to kind of build his toolbox up to buy time on social media. And his worry is coming up in the next month or so until we get a lot of stuff going on the site. He doesn't have a lot to put up, and his momentum's been amazing, but he's starting to trend down. He doesn't have much more to pull out. So he's just asking for any old help pictures. Tell your neighbors, send it up. We'll put it on social media for him. We preferably, obviously, we don't put people's names on it for a lot of reasons, but if they know the year, we can get it up for him. So that was all he wanted me to say.
Something that I had told Chris we could always do, that's super easy, is to do like a committee member spotlight where he just asked our committee member a few questions and then he highlights them on our social media page with their picture and maybe like how long they've been with our committee, maybe like what their favorite thing about our committee is, maybe like a goal they have for our committee. And then it lets people see that there's people on our committee that have been involved, like Janet since she was born pretty much, and Sandy and James and Alan and John and Megan. And then there's people, like Wendy, who are in their first year with our committee, and people like Leland, who have always been on the decoration side, but now we're joining the planning side. And it's really easy. It wouldn't take him very long to write that. It could be, 10 sentences just to break up float pictures, because you can only do so many, flashback Fridays.
And the other thing,
just an idea.
the other thing he said to me was, if you guys, those who are planning events, even if it's 3 months from now, give him a little bit of information. The golf tournament is coming, or whatever, but give him some things that are going on, and so he can start plugging those to start building momentum for you.
I just to kind of second Courtney's comment, I would love to see whatever Chris comes up with for that, those committee member kind of overviews, like, doing like a little bio on Leland's involvement, for example. I would love to see that kind of stuff on the website. Our website is really dry and there's no reason to ever return to it. And it really bums me out. Like the website is it's just a dead end. And I think that maybe this year, if we're going to start ramping up a lot of social media and we do this, farmers market thing, I want people to be able to go to the website and get inspired. And so I feel like it's awesome if we go through that exercise for social media, but let's capture that and make a little section about the team, you know, on the website, and help people to understand that, you know, this is a pretty eclectic, you know, group of volunteers. Anyway, my 2 cents.
And, you know, and to that point, Joss, I've offered, you know, the stories that I've written in the South Pasadena, I've offered Chris, if he wants to pick those up, he can, because like Brent was saying, we've written a story pretty much every month. So if he just clicks on, if he goes to the site, clicks on South Pasadena, he can pull them off. So, or I can assist if he wants. Just some more content for the site if you want, if you'd consider it.
Yeah, I know every time any article you've ever written about it, he links it immediately, always.
Good.
Every single time. Yeah, whether it's about South Pasadena or Pasadena churches or anything to do with that, even through this, you know, like go out and support South Pasadena on a Saturday and shop small. He links off of the South Pasadena a lot if it's community.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I know.
And I could maybe help him. And Brent, and group, I might be able to help him out with, maybe I could send out questions to some of the committee members.
Only if
so
you
we can
get,
find out.
only if we get a full photo of Leland in that little green alien unit.
I have one.
No. I
No.
want to see that.
So, but we can work on profiles. Maybe Chris and I can get together on that. Sounds good.
Excellent.
Okay.
Alan, it's finally your time after an hour and a half.
Make it quick.
Well, we have some really good news. We have set the date for the golf tournament.
Hey!
July 31st. And there's been some problems with, if we have it early, you know, it might not be a shotgun. A shotgun tournament means everybody starts at the same time. Or a tee time tournament, it means that you start on a tee time and then the next person starts and the next person starts. We're not sure about the lunches. If the restaurant is going to be open. And so when I was down talking with Sam yesterday, he gave us a date of June 12th. And I said, wow, Sam, that's really nice of you. But John and I need at least 2 months to do all the marketing, the teams and sponsors and everything else. So we decided on July 31st. And this is by far going to be the best tournament we have ever had. And we are going to make more money than we ever have. And 2 reasons. It's very, very difficult to go to those businesses and ask them for T signs. It's hard to get the foursomes to come. It's difficult. But what we realized doing our crunch time party, that we have a power of an online auction. And we believe that we are going to make more money making up for those lost T signs and those lost foursomes, those lost mulligan gifts and raffles that we usually make up that and much more money in the online auction. And so we're thinking that the online auction is going to be, let's say the tournament is on Saturday, but the auction will finish at like, 5 or 6 o'clock on Saturday. And so it'll be tucking up. And I don't know if all of you are familiar with the online crunch time auction, but you can do it on your phone. And every time you get outbid, you get this little beep that says you're outbid and you bid more. And we, Brant and I and Bill, Sam Hernandez kind of were on the commit. We were
having
blown
so much
away
fun.
we were blown away with all the love in the city to support our float. So Josh had a idea, or I thought of an idea that I've had many years ago with Paul. And it was an idea to build a smoker. Now I understand you guys have a drum of oil someplace.
Yeah, but it's not
Give or take.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
you got to use
have
it.
that
If
you're-
you're,
because it would explode.
yeah, you got to use a food grade barrel. You can't just use any
So,
oil barrel.
Yeah,
'cause you
I
could
don't think our
poison somebody.
hydraulic 10 weight 40 would work.
Just one match would get it going.
Yeah.
You guys could
Well,
have, you guys could build a smoker
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
could put SPTOR on it and it would go for a lot of money, believe me.
What about Ace Hardware? Did they donate a barbecue or something last for the crunch?
I
They did.
think it needs to be some custom built concoction.
And Ace
That's
Hardware
scary.
did that, and if, you know, we could get two. The idea that we came up with the crunch time party, there was so many items that individual people got. And we thought that this item would be something for a particular person and somebody else bought it. It went much more than we thought. And so I think this is going to be a very, very successful golf tournament. I'm hoping each and every one of you will help in your own way. Josh, with maybe trophies, maybe you can help with that. Wendy, we have T signs. They're, you know, like this. Maybe you could do that, or you know, we were going to send it to Julie DeLucia. Would love to have the business in our committee. Sheila, gosh, if you could get a foursome. Oh my gosh. First of all, Sheila has been the biggest supporter of our tournament down at working with Sam. I truly appreciate all of your help. If you could get a foursome for the city, Evelyn, if you could get a foursome from the council members. You don't really have to play golf. It's just fun to be there. I know Janet is going to do stuff. So Sandy always gives.
I got two
back.
baskets already ready for you.
Yeah. So this is going to be really the very, very best. Usually we make $7,000 to $10,000. You know, we're looking to make, I'm thinking 25, but I'm always in a dream cloud, but I like to have those high goals. But so everybody will get more information about that. Remember that it's June 31st.
July.
July 31st. And then Josh, at the farmer's market, you know, we'll have, if you want, flyers for the golf tournament. I mean,
Yeah.
we already know we're going to get X amount of foursomes no matter what we do. And we already know that we're going to get X amount of T signs. T signs are going to be our real problem this year. But the raffle is really going to be an awesome thing. And I think it's going to make up for everything.
James turned into a cat. So actually, Ellen, I'm gonna give you a call tomorrow because I got some interesting feedback. I was at an outdoor tournament last weekend with a bunch of the guys that I used to organize the SPEF golf tournament with. And they had brought up some interesting recommendations about offering a foursome to city council members.
Okay.
And we used to do that with SPEF. I completely forgot, for school board members.
Okay.
And high school and elementary school principals. And it was a really neat opportunity to get people to commingle at the event. that might be a good thing. But I put on my agenda to give you a call back tomorrow. We'll go over some of those ideas.
That's a great idea. I'd love to hear from you tomorrow. Yeah.
Alan, you can count me in for my usual check-in and helping with Sandy with raffle tickets and all that stuff.
Thank you so much.
Do you
It's,
have prices?
You
Like
know
a-
what? We're probably going to raise the prices because no one's going to remember what they paid last time.
Yeah.
And I think they really get a good deal. And the reality is there's a certain percentage that will play no matter what. So we just want to make it enjoyable for them. It's nice to get everybody together. We don't know whether the restaurant is going to be open, but I think it probably will be by that time. There's different ideas with catering. So once
Food truck.
yeah, very possible. We don't know, Sheila, we don't know what we can do with this.
Yeah,
Kiwanis might be able to cook something, but I think everything will be open. We're planning for that date, and I think it's going to be very, very successful because I think people are just itching to get out of the house and to do something. Wendy's shaking her head. She knows. So you'll hear more about that, and I'm going to send out save the date to everybody that's already played, everybody that's on my work and email list. I can send it to all you to send it to your friends, and that should be awesome. It should be really awesome to get everybody together again.
Would you guys think of ever adding a mini golf tournament?
We had thought about that. And we also thought about having a putting tournament. I'm not opposed to trying anything that makes sense. So yeah.
Maybe it's simultaneous. The kids are on their mini golf course while the parents are out there in their foursomes. And it becomes
I think the mini golf's a good idea.
And it
Yeah,
could
that's
be,
awesome.
that's not really the fundraiser. That's the hook to get people there. The tournament is no, you guys, yeah, that's a great idea.
That is super
On
cool.
the driving range, I mean, we can, if we have a start time at a certain time, we close the driving range for an hour, and we put spots or trash cans out, and hey, $10, see if you can get in. You win 100. Pay so much for a ticket to hit a ball, and if it goes in, you win $50. Just something, another way to make money.
Yeah, absolutely. So the idea is the more people, the more foursomes that we get, the more people, then that sells more of those game tickets and type things. And then the more T signs that we get, and then it's a numbers game where you get, just obviously more money. So yeah, I'm very, very excited about the opportunity that we have to do well.
I'm so excited that you can put me down for a foursome right now.
Okay. You're in.
Yeah, add me as well.
I'm in.
I've got at least 4 people that I talked to last week that are dying to do it.
Nice.
That's good news.
And then Janet with Shaw Moses, they're always a sponsor. They have, 2 teams. I have 2. There's always that certain nucleus that no matter what happens, we'll play. So it's all good. It's all good, and it's good to see what possibilities could hold. So I'm really excited, and John is excited too.
I'll be there on the 31st to help out, and I'll get a foursome for you too.
Awesome.
That is excellent news.
So Josh,
Josh,
I want you to start designing that barbecue.
Yeah, I can't wait. Steve and I are going to start putting pencil to paper this weekend.
Good, because it will bring in a lot of money.
Yeah.
One of a kind, baby.
Yeah, Lisa, we're going to rope you in at some point to put the spit and polish on this thing.
Have you thought about maybe making a campfire instead of, or a fire pit?
Yeah, maybe there's a couple different things we can come up with.
Wendy,
That's, you know, this is
Wendy,
all
great
good
idea.
fodder.
Perfect.
All good fodder for next month's board meeting. We'll have to share the screen and show some of our ideas.
You know what I've
Agenda
done?
item, Brand. Because you need more agenda items to spin off into the weeds.
What
I need more
realized
hours in the
is
day.
we get
so I can
together
to
on,
bed, get up at 4 a.m.
we get together on Fridays and we have a Zoom with Brant and Bill and a couple people, and we talk about these different ideas for these different organizations. And invariably, the next week, we forget about them. And so the only thing that I can remind you is if you have a good idea, write it down.
Sounds good.
It's the best discussion we've had in 30 days.
2 years.
It's the longest
I was gonna
meeting.
say, it's the only discussion we've had in the last 30 days.
Yeah, exactly. So lots of good stuff to think about the next 30 days, lots of cool stuff to come back with and some thoughts. Obviously, there's going to be a new tier. It's going to change a lot of questions on outdoor gatherings. It might even open some opportunities for us getting closer to being in chambers for a meeting, maybe by July, maybe. So, yeah, let's write down. If anybody's got some thoughts on little stuff, send emails to each other. Contact Lori for the chamber, talk to her about doing the farmer's market idea. She'll guide us in the right direction very quickly. She'll put us over to probably Greta. Or is Greta still doing it? No, nobody knows who Greta is. I thought Greta was the last person I knew that was running it was Greta Dunlap. She's probably retired by now, but go to Lori for those of you who talked about it, find out what we need in process, and she'll give you an answer on the spot.
I'll
So
talk
if you
to
need
Lori
help on that,
tomorrow.
let me know and I can call it.
Yeah, I'll
Okay,
talk to Lori
perfect. Yeah,
tomorrow.
that'd be
Yeah.
great. Okay. And then we'll wrap up some other stuff in between. And Evelyn, you and I can talk later in a week or two after what transpires about, and Bill with the idea of the pictures kind of reappearing somewhere, maybe somewhere around City Hall or properties. That'd be great.
Gotcha.
Yeah. 9:14. We're good.
Good night.
9:14.
That was the longest
thank you,
meeting ever
everybody.
for this group.